All right, good afternoon, VV Nation. Hello, everybody. Good to be here. I've been out for the last couple of days or so. I'll tell you about that later. My name is Glenn Tompkins. Welcome to our YouTube channel and welcome to Trending Thursday. So guess what? Today we're going to start off. We got a soundboard. Thanks to my producer, Joey. Say hi, Joey.
Hi, Joey.
Joey got me some sounds that I can use. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to see, can you hear this? I want to just type in the room if you can hear that or not. I can't see if it bounces or not. All right, let me know if you can hear that or not. All right, and if you could, that was, hold on, there you, nobody said that they could hear that. Let me do it again, But you can hear that. All right, so you know, that's because of you. I got a whole soundboard now, and I got some stuff that I'm going to start using. That's to say thank you, folks, for supporting the channel. Thank you for being. Need a foghorn. Jay, I'm going to work on a whole bunch of stuff. Jay, stop typing mug in the room. Don't start. All right, don't start. Did the thing hit yet? I don't know. It did? Oh, sweetness. All right, so with that, thank you all for being here. I've got a soundboard. This is going to be even more fun. It's going to be even more fun. So, one, thank you for being here. Two, this is Trending Thursday on YouTube. I know we picked up a lot of new people, especially because of the Financial Freedom Summit. Thank you, all the new folks that are here. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube page. If you haven't already, please look below this video. Subscribe to the YouTube page. If your subscribe button is red, that means you need to subscribe. If your subscribe button is gray, don't click on it. That means you've already subscribed. All right, so thank you for supporting the channel. We have grown leaps and bounds, and that is because of you guys. That just tells me that you like the content. I'm going to keep the content going. So if, again, show the support for the channel. We're getting ready to launch a second session. It's going to be on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock. I'm not going to give you the name of it yet. We're still working on it, but as I've been hinting, we're going to have a new character. We're going to start to grow a new character, and I think it's going to be a very fun entertainment segment, still dealing with the market, but taking it just on a different, we're going to go on a different ride. We're going to go on a different ride, so that'll be starting soon. Don't know how soon, but I'm putting it out there that we will have a new segment on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock on YouTube. I'm not putting the name of it out there yet, but it will be out there. Also, don't forget to comment on what you see here. Let us know that you like it. Badger's in the background along with Joey to answer your questions. And the beautiful thing about what we do here is if you have any questions that, you know, you want somebody from the room to answer, we got a lot of VectorVest subscribers here. Let them talk to you. It's one thing for me to tell you about the software, but I think it has more weight when somebody in the room who is a VectorVest subscriber talks to you. So I love the interaction. Keep it going. New folks, if you haven't subscribed to the page yet, please do. And don't forget to also like. Let's get some likes going today. And of course, the comment. So with that all being said, again, my name is Glenn Tompkins. I'm a senior instructor here at VectorVest. I've been here for 16 years. 16 years. And everything I've learned about the market, I've learned by way of VectorVest. All right? So with that being said, I am not an expert. I am not a guru. My job here is to talk about stocks that are making the news. I'm not about giving you the stocks that are the next hottest stock and on it. No, that's not what I do, and that's not what the VectorVest software does. For those of you who are here, we do use a program called VectorVest. Well, you're on the VectorVest YouTube page, and if you don't have a subscription to the software, Joey's going to type a link in the room to give you access to a trial. We still have a special. We're still running that special. Yep. 99 cents for 30 days. 99 cents for 30 days. So if you like what you see here, one, subscribe to the page. Two, you might want to think about taking out a 30-day subscription for 99 cents. You can't beat that anywhere. All right. First thing we always talk about when we get started is what's going on in the market. All right. Why? Because market's direction is the most important thing. Is the market going up? Is it going down? Is it going sideways? Are we coming off a bottom? Are we coming off a top? Knowing where you are in the cycle of the market is important to know what kind of trades to put on. For instance, if the market were topping, that's a good time to protect your profits on the stocks that you own. If the market is bottoming, well, you're probably already bearish in the market, but if the market is bottoming, that's a good time to start becoming bullish. All right, and when the market's trending, excuse me, whether it's up or down, you learn to play the stocks that take advantage of the trend up or to the trend down. So knowing where you are in the market is the most important key. That's why we always start off our segments with market timing. Let me open up the home page to the VectorVest software. For those of you who are not subscribers to the software, this is what the home page looks like. And from this home page, before you even dive into the software, this home page gives you a plethora of information. And no, that is not a Glenism. That's a real word. So it gives you an abundance of information to get you on the right side of the market so that whether you're trading bullish or whether you're trading bearish, you get an idea of how to manage the stocks that you're currently in. Let's start off with what the indices are doing today. All of the major indices are up nicely today. The Dow is up 0.6%. The biggest mover is the NASDAQ, up almost 1%. The S&P is up about 0.9, almost 1%. And our VectorVest composite is up 0.6%. So for those of you who are new, what is the VectorVest composite? The VectorVest composite is an indexed arithmetic average of all of the stocks that we track. So what does that really mean? Well, when the market is up, we say when the Dow is up, we say the market's up. The Dow tracks 30 stocks, albeit some of the best stocks that are in the market. When the NASDAQ is up, we say the market is up. Now, the NASDAQ tracks about 4,300 stocks altogether, but it's very tech heavy. So the stocks like Google and Apple and Amazon are located in the NASDAQ, and Apple in and of itself can move the NASDAQ because it's that big of a stock. So yes, it tracks more stocks, but it's very weighted more so to the tech side. Now, what people use as a benchmark to see if their portfolios are doing well or not is the S&P 500. Well, just by its name, you know that it tracks 500 stocks and some of the best stocks out there. So 500 stocks or 4,300 stocks, which were more tech-weighted, or 30 stocks. When we look at the VectorVest composite, and when I say it's an indexed arithmetic average of all of the stocks that we track, currently we're tracking 8,181 stocks. So when you look at the price of the VectorVest composite right now at $45.83, we're saying that the average of over 8,100 stocks is trading at a price of $45.83. Now, we track that price on both a day-over-day and week-over-week basis because we feel that it is a better representation of the broad market movement, and that's why we use it for market timing. Those of you who are new, well, you may not believe in market timing. Well, VectorVest has been around for over 30 years. We time the market. Now, there's a difference in prognosticating where the market is going to go and keeping you on the right side of the trend of the market. At VectorVest, we are trend followers, and we keep our subscribers on the right side of the trend at all time. So you'll never be blindsided managing the stocks in your portfolio. We always let you know when the market is looking toppy, when the market is getting to a bottom, when the market is starting to stall out. We have indicators within the VectorVest software which will get you prepared, and with that preparedness, you can manage the trades that you're currently tracking to make sure you capture profits at the right time, and also to make sure that you don't give up too much to the downside. And that's key, knowing when to sell. But our mantra is to have you in safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price in a rising market. So how do you do that? Well, you need to know when to buy, you need to know what to buy, and you need to know when to sell. And everything we encompass in the VectorVest software will put you on a path to know how to do these things. And knowing when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell is a trading plan. Always remember, plan your trades, trade your plan. So with that being said, that's a good golf swing. Get up and you go. All right, so trading your plan is like a good mechanical golf swing. Would you agree, Joey? Mm-hmm. So you heard that swing? That was probably my 7-iron taking me about 160 yards. but that's because I know the mechanics. Not in the woods. Don't be a hater. Did somebody type that or did you say that?
I said that.
You a hater. Anyway, so that was a good 7-iron, about 160 yards out. Yeah, about 160 yards out, but that's because you have a plan. You have the wherewithal to have the mechanics behind the swing. Same thing, you need to have the mechanics behind your trading. Keep that in mind. I'm going to hit that again. I like that golf swing. Good 7-iron. I'm probably got to go golfing this weekend. All right, so knowing that all of the major indices are up, let's go look at our daily traffic light into the market. One tick into the green. Our market timing gauge says VectorVest does advocate buying safe undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. We give you guidance every single night. So again, you should never be blindsided. Down below the market timing gauge, we have the color guard. The color guard represents the movement of the price of the VectorVest composite, the RT, which is the relative timing or short-term price trend of the market, and the BSR or buy to sell ratio, which looks at the overall health of the market. We get these lights depending on these indicators moving on both a day-over-day and week-over-week basis. If they rise on a day-over-day and week-over-week basis, we assign a green tile. If they rise and the data is mixed, like in this case, up on a week-over-week basis, but unchanged on a day-over-day basis, we give a yellow light. The buy-to-sell ratio is higher on a week-over-week basis, but now going lower on a day-over-day basis, so we assign a yellow light. So the green lights are good, strong days. The yellow lights mean it's okay. And just like you get to a yellow light, what do? You slow down. But I've got a lot more green in my color guard than yellow. We are more bullish in the market. So let's talk about why the market is the way it is. Markets move because of three things. Three things move markets globally: earnings, interest, and inflation. I don't care what anybody tells you about anything. These are the three things that move markets globally. When earnings are up, you have a bullish market. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Companies are still beating out earnings even though COVID-19 is in play. A lot of companies are still meeting earnings. The time to really look at earnings is going to be in the next quarter, because then the first quarter is going to be taken into consideration. I believe third quarter this year is going to be very important from the aspect of looking at earnings for companies, because now you're going to start to see the full effect of the pandemic on a lot of different companies. Other two things that move markets: interest and inflation. All right. Interest rates are still at historic lows. We're still between 0.25 basis points on interest. Historically low. What does that mean? When I borrow money, I pay it back at a much lower interest rates. This gives me more fuel to want to go out and borrow money at a lower interest rates, because now when I pay it back, I don't have to pay back nearly as much. And inflation. Well, inflation is rising prices. And right now, the inflation rate is still within the number that the Fed is looking for. Now, talking about the Fed's job is to look at the economy, right? There is a difference between the economy and the market. And because of the pandemic, the market and the economy actually became conjoined, because the market affected the economy, which affected the market, and back and forth. Usually they are two separate entities, but right now, because of the pandemic, they are kind of together. So the Fed's job is to make sure that employment is where it needs to be, that people are employed, and they want to make sure that interest rates are low. Well, the second part of it is already in play. Lower interest rates usually lead to a robust economy. All right. But because we know what happened with the pandemic and the country and the world getting shut down, that affected jobs. All right. So the jobs are still high. A lot of people unemployed, but the number of unemployed or people filing for unemployment are decreasing. All right. But there's a lot of people on unemployment. And another thing about the Fed has opened up all of the spigots to be able to try to buoy the economy and keep the economy the strongest, and it still is right now the strongest in the world. Everybody's going through some sort of a recessionary feel because of the pandemic, but you're going to notice that our market is already starting to resume its upward trend, and we're going to talk about the news that's affecting it. So that's just a nice overview of what's going on in the market, but let's see what news is affecting the market. We'll start off with our first story. U.S. economy contracted 5%. Oh, there we go. U.S. economy contracted 5% in the first quarter as coronavirus hit. So we already know that because of the pandemic, the economy is contracting. A lot of people are pulling back. A lot of companies are going out of business or are on the field of going out of business. So the pandemic has definitely affected companies. But the companies that have the money are the ones that are weathering the storm. A lot of the mom and pop stores, though, are going out of business. But what did the Fed do? The Fed put through, and our government put through stimulus to help for small business loans. All right. So a lot of these companies that were hurting, a lot of them were able to borrow money. A lot of the mom and pop stores were able to borrow money to keep them afloat during all of this time. But slowly but surely, the world is reopening again, and we'll see how that fares out. But the economy has contracted. Let's go to my next one. So the Fed's job again. Easing unemployment claims show slower pace of coronavirus-related layoffs. That's huge. So, and you match that up with the stimulus for these smaller businesses. I think that it's going to play out very well. A lot of these companies that were able to borrow money to keep themselves afloat as the market and the economy starts growing, opening back up, these companies, you know something, I'm thinking that a lot of people are itching to get back out. Now, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be very proactive. They may still wear masks and things of that nature to protect themselves, and that's fine. And you take it as it comes, but I think more so, we are not designed as an economy to sit at home, all right? Now, listen, two things that I don't talk about in here is politics and religion, all right? I'm not going to get behind the politics behind it. All I'm saying is that our economy is not set up to a point where we can stay closed forever. And I think that going back out into the world as the world starts to reopening, do it consciously, do it safely, whatever needs to be done, I think that needs to be done. So just keep that in mind. All right, but unemployment is starting to get, a lot less people are filing for unemployment. I think that's a positive bullish sign. And one more thing, Fed's William, economy good words here, may be bottoming as Fed weighs yield curve control. So a lot of things are pointing to the direction, with the exception of the contraction of the market contracting. I think that was out there. I think that was baked in, that we knew that the market would shrivel, or that the economy would shrivel because of the pandemic. But I'm liking the idea that the economy may be bottoming. And if that's the case, this may be a great buying opportunity to get back into the market if you haven't already. And I think by way of the VectorVest software, we've done a great job of pointing you in the direction of, as the market was bottoming, just like as the world turns, as the market was bottoming, we were getting our subscribers back into the market piecemeal. And if you're not a subscriber and you haven't gotten that information, again, Joey's going to type it in again. We're offering a trial to the software, 99 cents for 30 days. So those are the three things that I have as far as what's going on in the market. If you read the little sub part of this, the Federal Reserve Bank of New York president sees space for a good rebound. All right, so now let's get into the software. Let's get back into the software, and I'm going to go to the graphs tab. I don't know if I wanted to do it that way. Nope, I don't want to do it that way. Let's go to the watch list viewer. Let's go take a look at the stocks for this week, 5/28. And two stocks that we use to track what's going on in the market are the spiders. Look at that. The spiders, the S&P 500, and the VectorVest composite. Now, we're looking at 12 stocks altogether in my stories today, right? Notice that the spiders has the best combination of value, safety, and timing in the list. That's a good sign for the market. The SPY, or the S&P 500 ETF, is rocking and rolling right now with a VST of 1.28. VST looks at the combination of relative value, relative safety, and relative timing into one master indicator. And we're going to use these indicators as we go through to analyze stocks. And the other stock we have is the VVC. Let's open these up. We're going to right click. Let's take a look at these two graphs. All right, let's put this on a 3-month graph. Now, people always ask me, why do you look at a 3-month graph? Well, what happens every 3 months on the stock or in the market? We get earnings. I always want to make sure that any graph that I'm looking at does include earnings play, whether it's on the stock or in the market. We have here a 20-day exponential moving average. Why am I using that? That's a good way of knowing from a swing trade perspective what's going on. Notice that the S&P 500 is above our 20-day exponential moving average. Here's RT, or relative timing, the short-term price trend of the S&P 500 rocking and rolling. This tells me that the spiders, or the S&P 500, is in an uptrend. The higher above the value of 1 it is, the more deeper in an uptrend it is. Love the idea. Look at the open candle today. Very little wick at the top of the candle. Market's moving. Love it. Good time to be in the market. Let's go look at our VectorVest composite. Same kind of scenario. I'm going to take off the earnings per share real quick. Here's the RT. The short-term trend in the market is still moving up by way of the VectorVest composite. Above the 20-day exponential moving average, broke through a couple of levels of resistance right here shown on the graph, moving higher. Love it. This is a good time right now to be in the market. On the home page of the VectorVest software, we saw that VectorVest does advocate buying safe, undervalued stocks that are rising in price at this time. So that's where we stand. We looked at what was going on in the market, and now we see the results of how it's affecting the market, and currently in an uptrend right now. All right, Joey, any questions?
No, sir.
No questions. Excellent. So I'm going to close out of the graph. All right, so that is our first story, all about the market. Now you have, whether you're with us a long time or not, not a subscriber of ours, that is a nice overview of what's going on in the market. All right, let's get into my next story. My next story deals with oil. Now, I've caught some what's the word I'm looking for? Kickback, not kickback. What's the word I'm looking for? Pushback on oil. I've had some people tell me, well, you said it wasn't a good time to be in oil, and then I lost money because I didn't play oil. Well, let me tell you a couple of things right here. One, my job is not to tell you what stocks to buy or sell. My job in this session is to show you what stocks, what industries are making news, and from that information, we're going to analyze that information, but it's up to you to make a decision. Let me explain to you why I've been saying for the longest time that I was not ready to buy oil yet. All right, but I will explain why, if you're a little bit more aggressive, why it might have been okay to start buying oil. Overall, what drives oil higher? Well, demand. All right, demand is what drives oil prices higher. Notice right here, oil inventories rose by 8 million barrels. What does that mean? We got a lot more supply than we have demand. And because of the supply, what's oil going to do? Oil's going to fall some more. But wait a minute, Glenn. Oil's been on a tear. Oil's been running up. Why? Well, let me explain to you why it is. What happened most recently and over the last month with oil? You saw the contracts for, I believe, for May, either April or May, contracts closed at a negative number. Why? Well, that's because oil was falling and falling and falling and falling. Because why? We had so much supply of it. Supply makes oil prices fall. Demand is what makes oil prices rise. So, was I bullish or bearish on oil? I was still bearish. Here's my bear sound. Can you go through? I was still, huh? All right, so I was still bearish on oil because the demand was not there. So if I were a little bit more aggressive, why was I getting into oil? Because oil was a steal. Oil was at historically low levels, and the people who were jumping on oil were the people who were speculating that oil couldn't stay at that price for so long. And that's absolutely right. But if I'm going to talk to you in regards to what's going on in the market, I want confirmation of the move before I say, hey, you should consider buying the stock. I had no confirmation because there was an oversupply of oil. Am I ready to touch oil yet? Well, there's a couple of things going on. The oil producing countries have cut back on production. What is that going to create? Demand. Hasn't happened yet because we still have a glut of supply. So keeping that in mind, are you ready to say, well, you know, oil is so low, let me go put my order in now and buy it? If you do, keep in mind, there's no confirmation of demand yet, so you're going to put yourself in a situation where you could start losing money. Well, I would rather you be in a situation where something is moving and you got confirmation of the move before you buy it. That's my take. So oil inventories rose by 8 million barrels, which gives us a lot more glut of supply. Well, let's talk about that. Let's go back into the software. Let's go back to my watch list. I do have an indicator that we use for oil, which is W&T offshore, WTI. Look at the price of the stock at 266, where the value is at 78 cents. Well, we overall want you to be in undervalued stocks. Well, this is an overvalued stock. All right. And what does that mean? It means people are willing to pay a premium. Why are so many people willing to pay a premium? Because oil is so low overall. So a lot of people have jumped up, driving the stock's price higher than its value. Let's analyze it a little bit more. Does oil have good upside? Well, relative value is an indicator cast on a scale between 0 and 2. Above 1 is favorable, below 1 is unfavorable. Well, RV tells me that this stock right now should not outperform a AAA corporate bond. Long term, I'm not ready to hold oil yet. Next indicator, relative safety. It's an indicator of risk for the stock. Relative safety looks at the consistency and predictability of a company's financial performance. Does this company meet or exceed earnings expectations quarter over quarter, year over year? Well, currently it's below the value of 1, unfavorable. Now, the only thing that's driving oil right now is that it's in an uptrend. RT looks at the short-term price trend of a stock. Well, above 1 is favorable. The higher above 1 it is, the higher in a bigger in an uptrend it is. So now, because the fundamentals on WTI are not there, but the technicals or relative timing tells me it's okay, what kind of person invests in oil right now? The analysis points it out. The more aggressive trader plays oil right now. So if you are a little bit more aggressive, oil is still a good play because oil is so cheap. But the upside potential is not there yet, and the safety factor is not there yet. If you're looking to be more prudent to conservative, I would still say to wait on oil. But if you want to be a little bit more aggressive, RT tells me that the stock is in an uptrend right now. For everybody in the room, I want to know, does that make sense to you? So that you get an understanding of where I stand on oil, and that is by way of the analysis. I want everybody in the room to type a yes or a no if it makes sense to you. If you're a little bit more aggressive, you can still play oil. If you're a little bit more prudent to conservative, you want more confirmation, and that confirmation will be demand. Is anybody answering in the room? Yes, did anybody in the room say no? Excellent. So that is my feel. And anybody, you can agree with me or disagree with me, doesn't matter. I'm using the power of the VectorVest software to analyze what's going on with oil, to give you a better understanding if it's for you or not for you. That is the purpose behind this. So the analysis tells me the demand is not there. The technicals or relative timing tells me if I want to be a little bit more aggressive, I can still play oil. All right. With that, any questions, Joey?
How do you get VVC to view and watch list viewer?
All right, so the question is, how do I get the VVC in the watch list viewer? Where it says right here, add symbols, simply type in the symbol VVC. All right, and that will now add the VVC, which is part of our market timing, as a ticker symbol to your watch list. Any other questions, Joey?
What concern should we place on the very high MTI?
Question is, what concern should we place on the very high MTI? Let's do this real quick because that's a good point. Relative to the MTI, when it gets to a level of 1.5 to 1.6, the market is looking at a point of being overbought. So where are we right now? By way of the MTI, we could be getting to a toppy level, but keep in mind, This is a little different type of scenario in that the market is coming out of a pandemic phase. The market still has some upside. But if I go back to the graph that we looked at earlier, the market timing graph, I'm going to go put it on the market timing graph right now. Here's the market timing graph. Look at that rebound. We got almost a V-shaped bottom, but not quite. Market's moving up. Market's definitely moving up. With the high MTI, are we saying right now that we're getting to a level of a top? Well, this is where the bottom was, and that was on March 23rd. Where are we at? March, April, May? We are 2 months coming off of the bottom. Could we be getting to a toppy level already? It could be. The MTI is telling you that. So my concern, if anything, as you start to continue to buy new stocks, just do it cautiously because the MTI is high. All right? And I want everybody in the room to type on all of their social media, hashtag eye on MTI. Type it in the room if you want, because that MTI, that's a great question. That MTI is a level of telling you when the market is overbought. So looking at that at 1.72, it's not at historically high levels, but it is at a level. And guess what? The market rebounded off of that March 23rd low coming off the pandemic. It makes sense. But if you're still going to buy stocks right now, good, buy them, but just keep your eye on the MTI. Did anybody put hashtag eye on MTI in the room? No? You guys are not listening.
Just eye on MTI.
No, I want hashtag, follow instructions. Badger did it. Hashtag eye on MTI. That was a great question, by the way, about the MTI, huh?
Be like Badger.
Be like Badger and put hashtag eye on MTI. All right, any other questions? One more question. What?
How high can MTI go?
All the way up to 2. All right, how high can the MTI go? The MTI is cast on a scale between 0 and 2. All of our proprietary indicators are on that scale between 0 and 2. I'll take one more question, Joey. You have one more?
With all of the market ups and downs, how do you know when the best to sell?
All right, so the question is, with the market, with all of the ups and downs in the market, how do you know the best to sell? So I'm gonna take you back to the home page again, real quick, because as a subscriber, you're never without this information. All right, once we start to get to a toppy level, we'll start telling you that in the daily color guard. Number 1. Number 2, you will see the market start to roll over. You'll watch our indicators. You'll watch our indicators, whether it's the MTI or the buy to sell ratio or RT, start to roll over. Notice that these indicators are still rising. All right. Once they start leveling off and start pulling back a little bit, that is your sign, so to speak, that the market is getting to a level where it's getting toppy. The MTI tells you that you're getting there, but nothing by way of a graph is telling you that yet. But because the MTI is as high as it is, just invest and do it cautiously. All right. Can I move on or no?
I have more.
A lot more? All right, go ahead, real quick, as long as they're quick, please.
One question, good time to be in the market, but NASDAQ has been trending down. Can you be more specific about buying opportunities to buy stock in the NASDAQ when it was trending down?
All right, so the NASDAQ, keep in mind, buying opportunities with the NASDAQ running down. Keep in mind, remember, the NASDAQ tracks about 4,300 stocks, very tech heavy. All right, when I'm looking at a true market timing test, this is why we look at indicators like the VectorVest composite. This is why. It tracks over 8,100 stocks. So if I want to look at the NASDAQ, what do I look at? I look at the Qs. All right, and even the Qs, you're telling me the Qs are running. That's the NASDAQ. All right, the Qs are still running. Now, I do see that, look at right now, what are the Qs starting to do? Starting to move a little sideways. Oh, darn. The Qs are starting to move a little sideways right now. But if I go back to the market timing graph, looking at our VVC, we're still moving higher. That is the difference right here between looking at 8,100 stocks and looking at 4,300 stocks that are very tech heavy. Hopefully that makes sense. So from a market timing perspective, I'm going to put my faith more so in 8,100 stocks than 4,300 stocks. Hopefully that answers your question about the NASDAQ. All right, so good question about the NASDAQ, but hopefully it now pushes the point home about why we use the VectorVest composite. All right, we're going to go to our next story. Oh, coronavirus stocks, big on those. Still, I always tell the story every week. Badger uses that coronavirus watch list every day when the market opens up to find out which coronavirus stocks are moving. If you're new and don't have the VectorVest software, we have a watch list full of coronavirus stocks. I believe it's about 40 of them, thereabouts. And in that watch list every morning, especially if you're a trader, open that up when the market opens up and sort that watch list by percent price change to find out which coronavirus stocks are moving. But I've got some that made the news. Novartis to make COVID-19 vaccine developed by Massachusetts scientists. CNBC reports that Novartis has agreed to manufacture an adeno-associated virus, AAV, vaccine developed by scientists at Harvard, Mass Air and I in Massachusetts General Hospital. Folks, everybody who's in the bio field is rushing to get a vaccine. And the company that comes out with it first is going to be a rock star. So Novartis is one stock. Another one, ARCA Biopharmaceutical leads the healthcare gainers. Iovance Biotherapeutics leads in the losses. So I've got some stocks here it's already in my list that are rocking. How about ABIO up 236? I looked at it earlier this morning and it was up 173%. This is a way, again, where I could have found this way early this morning in the coronavirus watch list. And man, folks, if I could have caught half of that, would I have been a happy individual? Heck yeah, I would have been. 236%. But other stocks that are rock and rolling, we will look at ABIO today. ATOS, up 9% on the launch of a second COVID-19 program. Folks, all of these farmers, I think every biofarm out there is looking for a vaccine. They are all racing, and that's why they're all making news. ATOS is up on increased volume and early trade in reaction to its announcement that it started the development of a nasal spray formulation, AT301, for the potential treatment of newly diagnosed symptomatic COVID-19 patients. So, remember I told you I'd talk about why I wasn't here for the past couple of days? Well, I've had problems with my pancreas. So I had pancreatitis. I got admitted to the hospital on Sunday evening. One of the things that they had to do before admitting me is I had to take the COVID-19 test. OMG, horrible. So when they stick a swab up your nose and they touch your brain, and that's what it felt like they did. So 2 things the nurse said to me. She says, 1, don't move. 2, don't grab me. And I was like, wow, man. So I sat there and they put it in and was sitting there, went all the way back. And she had to do it on the other nostril. I said, really, on both nostrils? So I ain't got COVID-19, but a lot of people are complaining, saying, well, there's no, nobody's, the tests are not out there. I think if you knew what you really had to do, it ain't fun. It is so not nice. So not nice. All right. But how about a nasal spray, though, for the potential treatment of a newly diagnosed symptomatic COVID-19 patients? I think that would be cool. So these stocks are rocking and rolling. Everybody's rushing to get to a vaccine. And one more, my favorite one, which one I'm going to do, which one I want for this one. Whew, here we go. This is my favorite one, MRNA. Did you guys hear that? I want to know. I want to do that one more time. This is my favorite sound so far. Oh yeah, did you guys hear that? I love that. That's as close to an ooh-wee as I can get. That's as close to an ooh, and this stock, mRNA, I'm curious to know how many people have been, I've been touting this when the stock was way low. If I ever had a stock out of all of these sessions that I would say would be my stock of choice, it's mRNA. It's mRNA. So I know how many of you have made money with MRA thanks to me. And I don't mean to pat myself on the back, but it's something that I've been talking about for the longest time in regards to potential makes on this stock. Where's the hooey? There it is. That was the ooey. Heard it the first. Heard it here first. There you go. Says Kitchen. Heard it here first on mRNA. Way to go. And Dolly, I'm working on it. And thank you, Tanya. I appreciate that too. But this is a hot stock. They yelling the sound. They could be a bucket of water. I shout that every morning at the start of the Jockey Club, says Thomas. But now Joey found that for me. That is my ooh-wee. I love that. I love that. But that's a hot stock. And this is from Dr. Fauci. Better than we thought. So everything that I was looking at about the stock in the news, it's hitting even to the highest points. MRNA is a good stock to take a look at. All right, let's go look at some of these stocks in my list. Let's go here, go to the viewers. My stocks that I'm looking at are Novartis, ABIO, ATOS, and MRNA. Now notice that MRNA compared to all of the other stocks are towards the bottom of the list. Why do I like MRNA so much? Because I know that it's news driven. All right, this is not a stock that I want to have long term. And I'm going to tell you that a lot of these pharmaceutical stocks are not stocks that you want long term. These are trades. They really are. Look at ABIO up 330% today. We just looked at it. It was up 260 some odd percent. Look at the move on ABIO. And I'm going to show you this list in a second. But man, this is a powerful list for any of you who are traders. That coronavirus list is amazing. Amazing. You know how amazing it is? I don't know. Which one do I want? It's that kind of amazing. I'm going to do that again. That's what this stock does. It makes money. This is what that watch list does. It makes money. One more time. Got to ring the bell. That's the cash register bell. That watch list makes money. All right, let's analyze these stocks. Novartis, overvalued. Upside potential, not there. Relative value below 1. Relative safety, it's a more riskier stock. It's below 1. What's moving it? RT, the stock's in an uptrend. ABIO, overvalued. Upside potential, not there. Safety, not there. What's moving it? This stock, ABIO, is moving up the fastest by way of RT, folks. ATOS, overvalued. Upside potential, not there. Safety, not there. In an uptrend. Moderna, overvalued. Upside potential, not there. Relative safety, not there. In an uptrend. Now, Moderna is not as big in an uptrend as the other three, and these can make you money. These, I want you to understand that these coronavirus stock plays are trades. All right, let's look at these graphs real quick. View the stock graphs for these 4 stocks. All right, put this on a 3-month graph. NVS, even though it made the news, what's the stock doing? A little bit in a channel. Keep your eye on that. I'd like some confirmation. It is above the 20-day exponential moving average, but it was in a channel. I would love to see it break out of the channel before I go jump on board with it. ABIO, just look at that candle. Look at news driven. You can tell, look at that, 300% today, news driven. Hey, Badger, did you look at the list early this morning to see that this was jumping? Look at that. Look at where it started out this morning, a low price of $7.42. It's trading at $17 today. Woo! Hold on, put that again. That's what the power of our coronavirus watch list is all about. Very little hair at the top. People are still jumping in it today. Still rocking and rolling. Let's go to ATOS, bigger channel. Look at that, a lot of give back with the big wick at the top today. It is above the 20-day exponential moving average, but higher than the prior day's close. A lot of give back. Just keep your eye on that. And the next one is MRNA. It was doing great. It got hit. That was a lot of profit taking. Where's it at now? Look at the wick. The wick stopped right at the level of the 20-day exponential moving average. Let's see what happens. Nice up day, but a lot of give back as well. All right, any questions? Oh, before I do that, go to your watch list. We have one in here, coronavirus stocks. Look at that. How many stocks do we have in it? I already have a watch list for you guys. I think 41 stocks. Let's sort this by percent price change. And I can do this every morning to find out which ones of these stocks are rocking. How about Moderna is up 6.5%. ALXN up 8%. And I can watch this every day at the market open and jumping. I could have found ABIO way early this morning. That's the power of the software, and that's the power of our watch list. Any questions, Joey?
I got a couple here.
Okay.
What search does Badger use on coronavirus watch list?
The question is, what search does Badger use on the coronavirus watch list? You don't need a search. If you scroll down, everybody's got access to this. Go down to, hold on, close this out. Go down to special watch lists. All right, everyone go to the viewers tab, go down to special watch list. Click on it. You'll notice right here you've got a coronavirus watch list. All right, so Badger doesn't need to have a search. So in here is, I believe, 36 stocks. Now, what I've done over time is I've created my own watch list where I took all 36 of these stocks, and as time goes along, I can add to my watch list. But in a VectorVest watch list, notice that the add symbols is grayed out. Because it's a VectorVest watch list, you cannot add stocks to it. So I took these 36 stocks, I put them into my own watch list, and then from there, I can add my own stocks and create my own watch list where I can add stocks to it. Tell him I look at it every morning, no exceptions. It's a moneymaker. I took the VectorVest built-in coronavirus watch list and expanded it with additions I found on my own. That's exactly what I just said. Way to go, Badger. So I've taken these 36 stocks, copied them, put them into my own watch list called the coronavirus stocks. And as I find other stocks that are moving that are in the coronavirus field, I can then build my own watch list on top of the VectorVest watch list. All right, that's it in a sentence. How do you get the list of stocks whose price change on any 2 consecutive days is more than 20 bucks? Now, Guitar, I'd have to do a little bit of a search. I'd have to create a search. I won't build that in here, but give our product support staff a call. They can help you where I can take that watch list, put it into a search, and I can make criteria that the stocks have gone up by $20 or more for each day. And Asif, can you take a picture? Yeah, I'll do this real quick. Take me off the screen. All right, this is not the one. Hold on. Let me get to my watch list first. I'll do that. YouTube trending Thursday, 5/28. There we go. Oops, that's not what I wanted. Hush up, Joey. Shh, leave me alone, Joey. All right. Joey's going to take me off the screen.
Take you off.
You're going to take me off the screen. I'll leave it up for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take a screenshot. All right, take a screenshot.
Do you only look at the price percent change in morning if you check midday or too late as a trader?
If I'm a trader, and there's the second half. Oh, man. MD. All right, that's the second half. And I'll count 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So from this perspective, from a trade perspective, folks, I am sorting this list by percent price change. That is what I'm looking for from a trade perspective. All right. And Joey just made sure that you can take a snapshot. All right. Now, if I want to see the stocks from this list that I want to be more long-term on, take this same list and sort it by relative value. Which stocks have the biggest upside? Well, Regeneron. These are stocks that I would rather hold in this field. This is in this space because look at the fundamentals. Relative value is good, relative safety good, and relative timing. And look at some of them are growing their earnings at a nice clip, good positive earnings. This is a way if you're trying to find stocks in the space that are longer term plays, let's go look at relative value. All right, what is the best biotech ETF? Bupin, I like LABU or LABD. Those are the two that I like the most of. And why is ABI on hold in the software? So ABIO, just because a stock goes up today, doesn't make it the best stock. Keep in mind, a stock gets to be a hold because it doesn't meet all of the criteria to be a buy. So in order for a stock to have a buy, 1, the stock's price has to be higher than the stop price. And the stop price, and it's got to be higher than the stop price. It's got to be trending away from the stop price. RT needs to be above 1, and VST needs to be above 1. So one of the 4 things did not happen for the stock to be a buy. And I think that a lot of people get caught up in, well, the stock is rocking and rolling, it's got to be a buy. This is where true analysis comes into play. In order for a stock to get a buy recommendation, those 4 things need to happen. If all 4 things are not happening, it won't get a buy. So just because it doesn't have a buy, does that mean you shouldn't buy it? Not at all. The stock is rocking and rolling. It just hasn't hit the criteria to be a buy. That's all. Don't hold that against the stock. It takes a lot of work for a stock to get a buy. Any other questions? Excellent. All right, let's move on to the next story. Nope, not yet. So now, this week I'm going to do something a little different. Let me show you the power of the VectorVest software. All right. This week, I'm going to show you how to find, by way of just VectorVest indicators, what industries are rocking and rolling the most. All right. So I'm going to go, we're in the viewers tab. All right? Everybody in this room who has the software has access to do this. I'm going to go to Unisearch tool. Everybody's got access to this. I'm going to go to Delta Searches Industries. Delta Search. Delta looks for a percentage change. A percentage change. Now, I can go anywhere and look at a 10-day price delta on industries. All right? I can go to my broker's account and do that. And with that being said, auto truck manufacturing is up 77% in price over the last 10 days. Petroleum drilling up 66%. Those by far are the two industries that are rocking and rolling by price change. Now, how can I make it so that with VectorVest you can get a better feel? How about I do a 10-day RT delta, relative timing delta? The stocks that are in an uptrend, let's find out which stocks are getting to that uptrend in the past 10 days the most. Now I double click on that, I'm going to get a different listing. What's at the top of the list now? I'm going to have transportation airlines. Woo-wee! Hold on, I don't want to do that yet. I'm going to do that. Why? Because this industry is about to take off. Oh, that's the airline. That's the airline one. Man, first off, let me ask you guys, are you guys liking the sounds? I'm very curious to know. Are you guys liking the sounds? Look at what's at the top right now. 10-day RT industry. Transportation airline is rocking and rolling. Why? Because people are willing to get ready to start to fly, folks. All right, Roger says no, he doesn't like the sounds. All right, fine. Just because of Roger, folks, no more sounds. All right, I'm going to move this away. No more sounds. All right, anyway, transportation airline. Nope. I'm sorry. No more signs. Roger said no. He doesn't like the sounds. So, Tech Opinion says it's a little loud. Can you do something about that? All right. Well, Joey just fixed that. All right. And Angel says we like the sounds. And A-Dub says forget Roger. Take that away. All right. So this is the power. And this really goes out to the people who are not subscribers to the VectorVest software. I can at any point in time tell you what industries, and why do I use 10 days, 2 solid weeks of trading, I think is a good feel of what's working in current market conditions. Transportation airlines over the last 10 days, rocking and rolling. I can right click and then view the stocks in that industry group to see what stocks are rocking. I love this, and this is now giving me the opportunity to really provide for you the power behind the software. Let's sort this by percentage price change. Since it's up so much, let's go look at the stocks that are up today the most. All right, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stocks in that industry are up today, and there's 25 stocks within that transportation airline. Only 4 are moving. All right, which ones have the biggest upside potential? All right, then I've got Gold, Linhas, Controladora, Latium, Air France. These are the stocks that have the best upside. Which ones are the safest? Folks, I'm looking at the same watch list of 25 stocks, sifting through to find out how about Southwest Airlines and Delta are the 2 by safety that are up the most. You know what this tells me? That these are stocks that I could possibly take a look at. They are safe. They may not be moving up in price right now. Let's do this. They're the 2 safest. Let's go look at their graphs. Now, if I'm looking at stocks to get into from the airline industry, this is what I'm looking for. I like that Southwest was in a downtrend. Look at that. Pop up against that 20-day exponential moving average. I'd wait for an up day before I buy, though, right? Same thing with Delta Airlines. Look at that. Love the bounce up above the 20-day. I'd wait for a day to buy. All right, but I love the opportunity to use a 10-day RT delta because that will only be found in the VectorVest software. What else is moving? Bank multi-regional. All right, that was the second one. No, retail department stores up 204%. Bank multi-regional. Folks, this is the way to find stocks in industries that are moving. in indices that are moving. Retail apparel. A lot of this is retail, bank, insurance, leisure, retail, business. Why? Because the world is starting to open back up again, and that makes sense. But now, if you want to be able to have that information at the tip of your fingers at all times, the VectorVest software will provide you with that information. So I wanted to take a little time this week to start and talk about the power behind the software to help you with that as well. All right, so with that, let's go one last thing. My next stories.
What about some questions?
Oh, why didn't you tell me you had questions? Go ahead.
Ask me.
I didn't ask you. Go ahead, Joey.
Are you in viewers?
I'm in the Unisearch tool. Question is, am I in viewers? I am in the Unisearch tool. Oh, they can't see that, can they?
No. But now they know.
Now they can. Oh, they can now?
No, but they know it because you told them.
Oh, okay. I'm in the Unisearch tool, and within the Unisearch, I went over to Delta Searches Industries, and I'm looking at the 10-day RT Delta. RT Delta. Any other questions?
How can I find Delta change increase in earnings?
The question is, how can I find Delta change in earnings? Hold on. I've got a search. I got a search already for you. What's it called? Explosive EPS?
So let's vote Roger off the island.
No, they're not voting. Explosive. Here's one specific. We have it in the search and already. Explosive EPS stocks. What was this question? How about earnings per share Delta, 13-week Delta, greater than 25%? So I can run that search. It's called explosive EPS stocks. And I can find out what stocks over the last 13 weeks have earnings per share greater than 25%. Ta-da! Great question, by the way. But that's already in the software for you. All right, any other questions?
How do I get EMA on charts?
How do you get an exponential moving average on this chart? Let's go add the best stock in the whole wide world. All right, and if I want to add an exponential moving average to a graph, go over to the price box right here, right-click on the price box, go down to add moving average. I have exponential, and I can add a 20 or a 40 or a 10 and add it to my graph. All right, I'm going to put on 40. It goes down to the bottom of my list. Click on the box. There's my 40-day exponential moving average right below. All right. Any other questions, Joey?
Two more. Why not look at a 5-day Delta search?
The question is, why not look at a 5-day Delta search? I can. Why would I use that if I want to be a little bit more aggressive, right? If I want to be a little bit more aggressive and get in a little quicker, keep in mind, the faster the time frame, the quicker you're going to be susceptible to retracements, right? Think about that. Well, I can do a 5-day. Let's go 5-day. Instead of price Delta, I'm going to go a 5-day, capital appreciation, RT, Delta, 5-week. I don't want 5-week. I'm going to go to 5-day. Look at that, folks. I'm doing it on the fly. Here's stock RT, 5-day Delta. Run that. I'm going to look at the top 10 stocks in the database that have the biggest move in RT. Now, look at this, 14,000%, but look at the price. So guess what? Due to your question, let's do this. Let's add some stuff. Price, actual, let's say the price is greater than or equal to $5. Let's put 1. And let's go add another criteria. Stock, volume, average volume, right here, greater than or equal. And because I want to get some liquidity, I'm going to go 250,000. Now let's run it again. So now I'm looking at 5-day RT Delta, stocks price greater than $1, average volume greater than 250,000, NBR. This is a stock that's made the news too. Look at this, 5-day Delta, 1,300%. Look at that stock go. Percent price change, up 18% today. Ascena, 646%. You want that? There you go, on the fly, folks. That was done on the fly, but I made it more realistic by putting some price and some volume behind it. But I can do that. Look at their graphs, and that may not be a bad way to go. Next question.
Is this being recorded, and where can I find it afterwards?
The question is this being recorded? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And what I need you to do, I need you to subscribe to the page. Subscribe to the page. When that happens, you will get updated to all of the recordings. Every time we put them together, you get updated, so the recordings will be there. All right? Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Biggest thing is to subscribe. Folks, I want you to subscribe today, especially if you like the content. Show me that you like the content. Another way you can show me that you like the content is to show the likes today. I love the interaction. If you like the content that you're getting today, like us. If you like the content that you're getting today, then I want you to like. Because if you don't like the page, there you go, I put the boo. You know, if you don't like the page, but you know something, you know, I may not appeal to everybody here. So maybe I take the boo back. Hey boo, I take the boo back. You may, you know, but if you like the content, subscribe, folks, subscribe. What else is here? I got a whole bunch of stuff. Now I need more stuff, Joey. I need more stuff. All right. Any other questions? All right, let's go. Now, next thing I get into are my stocks of interest. How many people saw this story? Boeing resumes 737 MAX production. That's huge. That's huge. So finally the air people said it's okay for Boeing. Boeing is probably taking a deep sigh of relief and going, oh my goodness, thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is what Boeing is saying. Woo-wee. They're happy. All right. And they're saying to the air people, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's going to be good for them. What else is in here? This is another one. HBO Max enters the streaming battlefield. All right. Through my cable service, I have HBO. So now I think I get HBO Max automatically. All right. Just something else throwing their hats into the streaming field. That's huge. So it was launch day. That was on March 27. AT&T's high-stakes entry into the stream wars built off of the prestige TV brand it acquired in the Time Warner acquisition. So, man, this is somebody else getting into it, and that primarily is AT&T, Netflix, Amazon, Comcast, Disney are all part of that, and that's in my stream wars. And next one, I talked about airline stocks, right? Airline stocks pull back, but continue to outperform as the TSA Traveler put that 707 up. That data keeps improving. I'm telling you, some of these airline stocks may not be bad plays right now. I showed you all my industries, showing you one of the fastest industries by RT were airlines. They're making the news, but the VectorVest software is powerful enough to get you in even with the news, even without the news. So, that's what's going on with that. And one last one, Nintendo. Why are video game sales surging? A lot of people were at home. Now, I want you to keep your eye on those stocks that are stay-at-home stocks. As people start going back to work, they may get affected. Just keep that in mind. But kids are still at home. So this is on Nintendo. This is on Nintendo. Let's take a look at those stocks. These were my stocks of interest. Let's take a look at these stocks. Go back to the Viewers tab. And let's go find my date, 5/28. And here's my stocks of interest, Boeing. Look at where Boeing is, towards the bottom. Another one that was part of the story was Spirit Airlines. All right, AT&T, Jets, to look at oh man, I hate when that happens. Boeing, Jets, to look at all of the global jets in one ticker symbol, and Nintendo. Look at where Nintendo is on my list by VST. The second best stock on the list. Let's right click, view the stock graphs. All right, AT&T. So even with HBO Max, let's go see if we can get the stock out of this level of a channel. It is above the 20-day exponential moving average. It went through one level of resistance and guess what? Boom, fell back down. Now it's testing it as a level of support. So the news may not altogether be what saves it. Look at the relative timing, right back down at 1. I really want to see not only the stock's price going up, but RT moving up as well. So even though the news about HBO Max is out there, it's still news driven yet. I've got no confirmation behind the move. Boeing, this is also news driven, coming off this beautiful level of support above the 20-day exponential moving average. I would really want to see RT go back above 1 to show me that the stock's in an uptrend. But it is above the 20-day exponential moving average and moving higher. This is also part of that story, Spirit Airlines or Air Systems, like Boeing, except for it's got a little bit of a pullback behind it. Why is it showing me, not stochastics, Fibonacci's on here? All right, just be careful with that one. And JETS, this is all of the JETS in one ticker symbol. It's an ETF for JETS, but look at that. Went above, RT went above 1, pulled back down, but it is above the 20-day exponential moving average. Remember, this is an industry that's all rocking and rolling right now. If I were to buy in it, I just want to make sure I'm buying into a rising day. And the last but not least, Nintendo. Notice that as people start to go back, more back to work as the world reopens, watch Nintendo is just going to probably level out. All right. Any questions, Joey?
So Doron says it's not Spirit Airlines, it's Spirit Aerosystems.
All right. It's not Spirit Airlines. You're right. It's Spirit Air Systems. I apologize. Thank you for holding me accountable. What? Here's my Michigan cup. Drinking my Cafe Bustelo in my Michigan cup. What's the other question? Oh, man. What do I make from the market timing gauge when it jumps around hour by hour during the day? So Boston. Good question. So if I'm looking at the home page, all right, and I'm watching that, you talking about the market timing gauge. Well, remember, I'm looking at real-time data. So I'm going to get what you would call, because, I am looking at real-time data. So real-time data is a double-edged sword. I get real-time data, but I also get market noise. So all you need to do is if you watch that and it stays in the green and you're in a trade, manage your trade. This is going to move. All right. The only way it stops moving is if you have end of day and it doesn't move around as much. But that is the double-edged side of playing real-time data. Why does the color guard jump around? All right. All right. So hopefully, Boston, I answered your question. Hopefully I did. You learn about jagosity and messy stuff. Wow, Joff. All right. Okay. I didn't even get anything. I didn't even go in the direction of jagosity today. Or Nessie. Or Loch Nessie. All right. Any other questions? All right. So now, all right, before you start putting stocks, don't put your stocks in yet. Don't do it. Let me tell you the rules. I got rules now. Joey made me use rules. All right, the rules are 1 stock per person. Joey is the one that makes the decision on which stocks go in. All right, he calls them off to me. 1 stock per person. If you put more, Go ahead. All right, if you put more than 1, Joey might bypass you. I'm putting that out there. Joey's looking for people who follow instructions. 1 stock per person. On your mark, get set, go. TMO. Gush. MRK.
KGC.
Say again?
KGC.
Ken Ross Gold.
Mug.
That was Jay? Kick Jay.
Jay, you're in timeout.
Jay's in timeout. Go ahead.
BAC.
CVS.
GMED. TECL. BABA.
GLA. ELA.
Did we do ENPH today?
No, EMPH.
Okay.
AAPL, that's for me.
SABR.
VTIQ.
Yep.
Okay.
TREX. And we'll take a couple more here.
Okay.
Jose, was that one? Let's see. Yeah. Roku.
Okay.
UNH.
Yep.
And STNG.
STNG.
And NVAX.
NVAX.
I forget who asked for it.
All right. So here we go. Thank you for following instructions. My applause to you. All right. So let's go take a look at some of these stocks. You know what level I'm looking at, a 3-month level, right? All right. What's going on with TMO? Interesting. A little bit of a channel. All right, a little bit of a channel. What I do like is the bounce off of the 20-day. 20 days serving as a good level of support. Look at that. Even on the pullbacks, stock tends to pull back to that 20-day exponential moving average. pullback moving higher. Would love to see it take out that high, number one. Love that RT is above 1. I will add a couple of things here. I want earnings and I want volume. Why is volume not on here? Hold on. I got a layout set up already for this. There we go. 3 in the air. Huh? I got to change my screen? Okay. 20-day. Why do I not have this earnings? I want earnings. Change the type to area. And I want volume. Why is volume not on here, Joey? Add parameter. Let's go price volume. I want volume on here. All right. So what I like, why do I like volume? Because volume is conviction. I want to see a stock's price rising on rising volume. Earnings on this stock don't look so good. Earnings is falling, but the stock's price is moving higher. Because I know that earnings is falling, if I'm in this stock, I manage the stock on its own merit. Good way to get out is the stock's price falls below and has confirmation the next day. Notice the stock's price fell below the 20-day moving average here, but not here, so no follow through. Notice here, the stock's price fell below and stayed below. That would have been a good opportunity to get out of the stock to not ride it all the way down. All right, so TMO, if you own it, the stock's in the channel, leave it alone. If the stock's price falls below the 20-day exponential moving average and has confirmation the next day, probably a good time to get out, but I like RT is showing me the stock's in an uptrend. Let's go to the next stock, Gush. I'm not a big fan of Gush because of the split. It's tough to read these candles. Let me zoom in. It really is, unless I move in a lot closer. Gush, that is the bearish, that's the bullish side of oil. Remember I talked to you about that supply and demand? Look at what's going on with Gush. I want you to see that. So who plays Gush right now? I told you it's the more aggressive trader, right? Because of low prices on oil. Let's go make this a little darker so that you can see. And this backs up what I just said. This really backs up what I just said about oil. What I said earlier. What's oil doing? It's in a channel, folks. Now, yeah, it's above the 20-day, but why is it not getting past that level of 42, 46? Because the demand is not there. The demand is not there. So, yeah, you can get into it now, but the stock's in the channel. What are you going to do with a stock in the channel? You making money on it? You losing money on it? Which would you rather be in? I'd rather be in a stock that's moving up. Put my chat back over here for me. I'd rather be in a stock that's moving up. That's what I'd rather see you in. All right, just keep that in mind. And Dean, you guys are adding new stocks. Please don't. Joey took the stocks that I can get. Joey's going to put a link in the room for you. For every stock that I did not get to look at for you, go take a look at the stock analysis report. It is free. It is free. It is free. Don't keep adding stocks in here. I'm not going to be able to look at them. All right. So this is still wrapping up the story about oil. All right, it really, really does. The demand's not there, folks. So I can't talk you into it. I'm just telling you, I'm analyzing it. It ain't me, I'm analyzing it. MRK, Merck, put this on 3-month graph, also in a channel. I like the bounce off of the level of support. It went above the 20-day exponential moving average. Where did the stock's price stop? Right at that level of resistance. Right at that level of resistance. Type it in the room, Badger. This stuff really works. Look at the price. Look at the wick of today's candle. Stopped right in the zone of 80.60. It's in a channel. I like that the stock's in an uptrend. Earnings is falling. Watch volume. Look at the volume. It makes sense that volume is falling while the stock's price is moving sideways. All right, so Pessy, what's your stock? Pessy, hold off. Let me see if I have enough time. I may look at a couple of other stocks. Somebody says you keep missing their stocks each time. Okay, then. Let's keep on moving. Let's get to the next stock. KGC, Kinross Gold. Be careful with gold. All right, be careful with gold. Look at it turning around right now. It was above the 20-day exponential moving average, and what is it doing right now? All right, and Roger is right. Roger says keep your eye on casino stocks. That was going to be another story that I was going to put in today. I just didn't have the time to look at it. But another thing about that, Roger, in casino stocks, a lot of people are afraid to go back out into the world of the casinos right now. So just watch that. Just keep your eye on that, Roger. I think that people are itching to get out there, but I don't know if it's enough people to drive the casinos higher yet. Hopefully that makes sense, Roger. I just don't know if it's going to be enough. They ain't going to come roaring back, I don't think. The die-hard people who are playing the market or playing gambling will be there, but not everybody. So just keep that in mind. All right, just keep that in mind. Let's go to the next stock. Next one is Bank of America. I like that it broke through its level of resistance at 25.22. What's it doing now? Testing that level of support. It is above the 20-day. Watch, if it breaks down below that level of 25.22, it may retest the prior lows. It definitely may test the prior lows. Up 97% because, where did that just go? Oh, because of that and want to take it now. Will it fall for a second shutdown? What stock is that, says? Not sure what stock that is. I'm not sure what stock that is. UNH is already in the list, Sue. All right. I just watched Bank of America. I got a level of support sitting at 25.22. You put up KGC and you're talking about the casinos. Somebody asked me about the casinos, so that's why I was talking about that. But you're right. Let me stick to the stock that I'm talking about. All right, I will do that. CVS. Ooh, I do like CVS above the 20-day exponential moving average. Hit a new 3-month high today. I do like that. I hit a new 3-month high today. Love the rising RT. I would buy, if I'm going to get into it, let's buy about 12 cents higher than the high. One of the few stocks that does have rising earnings. I don't like the falling volume, though. Again, volume is conviction. I like the move up, but I'd rather be in a stock that's rising with rising volume. I'd rather be in a stock that's rising with rising volume. Keep that in mind. All right, keep that in mind. Let's go to the next stock, which is GMed. Stocks moving up. Watch earnings. Watch volume. That's something to keep your eye on. And it's retracing from a level of resistance at 58.09. All right. I don't like the volume and I don't like the earnings on the stock. And that level of resistance is probably going to hold based upon what I see right now. It got to that level and stock's price pulled back, but those two are falling back. I do like RT. I do like it's above the 20-day, but it looks like that may be a really good, strong level of resistance in at 58.09. TECL, a little bit of a sideways move right now. Above the 20-day exponential moving average. Love that nice steady rise. That moving average is serving as a good level of support right now as well. So I do like that. RT is rising. Volume is pretty steady. Volume for the most part is pretty steady, about 500,000 overall. So there's a little bit of conviction behind this. I'd like to see it break out above that level of a high, but it's a nice looking graph right now. Ooh, Alibaba, not feeling it right now. A lot of Loch Nessiosity. Look at that. All right, let me put a boo on that. Moving up, moving down. This is very Loch Nessy. Testing a couple of levels of support. RT is pulling back a little bit. Earnings pulling back. Volumes pulling back. I'm not feeling Alibaba right now, especially because it's below the 20-day exponential moving average. Out of the last 4 days, 3 out of the 4 days are down compared to only 1 day up. All right, so just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, let's go to one more. Stella. All right, this is my golf swing because I took a hit at that. Ella, above the 20-day exponential moving average. Watch it that it's going to, I'd like to see it stay above that. Look at that move on, that's a bearish divergence on RT. Keep in mind, RT looks at the short-term price trend of the stock. Look at that RT. All right, as the stock is starting to come up here, look at that. Look at the upward move there, downward move there. That's a bearish divergence. Be careful if you own ELA. All right, it's above the 20-day, but if it falls and breaks below the 20-day, you probably want to think about taking it off. You probably want to think about taking it off at that point. All right, so let's take a look at EMPH. Still, this is a beautiful stock. I love this stock. Stock is getting hit right now, but still above the 20-day exponential moving average. You know why I like the 20-day? Because it does a good job from a swing trade perspective to keep you from panicking. All right, keeps you from panicking. RT starting to move down. This is a stock that's got stellar earnings, still rising. Watch the volume a little bit. But if I own it right now, I would say wait and see. If it breaks below the 20-day, like it did here, look at that move. Broke below the 20-day, look at that there. All right, I like that 20-day moving average. All right, like that 20-day moving average. Let's go to the next one, Apple. Well, why? It's because it's the best stock in the world. I love Apple. I don't know if I would buy it yet until it broke above that level of 327.73. That's a beautiful level of resistance. I need the stock's price to break above that. But look at the 20-day. Look at the nice upward move. Everything looks good about Apple. Everything looks good about Apple. If I don't own it, though, let's see if it can break above that moving average. If I own it, leave it alone. Beautiful level as it pulls back to that 20. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. All right, let's go. Next one, Sabre. Well, it broke through a level of resistance, which was at a level of $7.34. Broke through it, followed through. Look what it's doing. It's testing that now as a level of support. If you own it right now, I've got two levels to get you out. One, if it breaks through that level of support of 734, you might want to think about taking it off the table. If you want to give it a little bit more room, if it falls below the 20-day exponential moving average. RT jumped up as the stock's price jumped up, but RT's starting to pull back down. Earnings don't look so good. And the stock's price, the volume is all right. It's kind of steady. But just be careful. If you own it right now, two opportunities to get out. If it breaks below that level of support or if it breaks through that level of the 20-day exponential moving average. All right. VTIQ, diversified companies. A little dip, but even with the dip, you put my hands upon my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. You put your hands upon my hip. When you dip, I dip, we dip. All right, Joey said the hip boo. All right, fine. Anyway, notice that on the pullback, it didn't break or break down below the 20-day exponential moving average. Still moving up. I love that from a swing trade perspective, folks. I love that as a means to know when to get out at the right time. 20-day served as a good opportunity to say, leave it alone. All right, serve as a good opportunity to say, leave it alone. And you know something? You got to know when to buy, what to buy, and when to sell. I love that 20-day from a swing trade perspective. All right, I love that 20-day exponential moving average from a swing trade perspective. T-Rex, pulling down. Look at that. T-Rex pulling down. Big candles pulling down. If you don't want to give it to the 20-day, let's put an 8-day. Oh, it did fall below the 8-day. That's a good, you know why I'm using the 8-day? Let me take that off. See how high above the 20-day it is? Do you want to give it all the way that room back down? That's the reason why I added the 8-day. The 8-day can get me out a little quicker and help me capture profits a little quicker than waiting down to the 20-day. Does everybody in the room understand what I just did? Yes or no? Does everybody in the room understand what I just did? I've been looking at the 20-day exponential moving average on all of these stocks. But look how high above the 20-day it is. Do you want to wait all the way down to the 20-day, or I can throw in something like an 8-day to get out? Daniel says no. So Daniel, I put in a faster moving average as an opportunity to get out a little quicker. All right, that's all that I did. I put in a faster moving average to get out a little quicker. Because if I don't, look how much more I can give up. Now, when the 20-day is close to the price, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about that. But when price pulls away from the 20-day a lot, then I can use a lower moving average to get out a little faster. All right, and Ann says, now I do. Excellent. I wish I had that graph. I'd kill for a 3-month glance. Say says, if you have the software, you can look at it. 99 cents. You went with the 8-day. Yes, so I moved it to an 8-day. Why? You can use an 8 or a 10, whatever you want. I just put an 8. All right, I just put an 8. All right, let's go to the next stock. Ooh, Roku. No new. That's for Roku. I'm not ready for that. You know what happens? If you stay with Roku, this is what happens to you. You might get knocked out the game. I used the KO. Joey liked that. You might get knocked out the game. Roku, look at the earnings getting worse. How many of you like that knockout that I just did? And that knockout was great for a Roku if you're trading Roku. How many of y'all like that knockout? That was kind of cool. Can you get Glenn to give the weekly explanation of the 3-8 cross? I could do that. So let's change this from an end of day to a weekly. 3-month weekly. I'll put on 6-month weekly. Now that 8 becomes an 8-week moving average. All right, because I'm on a weekly graph that 8 now becomes an 8-week move. So now if you really want to be a lot more conservative in that perspective, even from that perspective, Roku don't look so good. All right, Roku still doesn't. Oh, I see you are having a good time with sounds. Yeah, Gene, that is all Joey. Joey hooked me up. I'm loving the sounds. I'm loving the sounds. All right, so even on an 8-week perspective, like Badger asked, it still don't look so good. Roku, do it one more time. That's what could happen if you get into Roku. And I'll be looking down at you going, man, you just got knocked out. Be careful with Roku. All right, let's go put this back on to end of day, 3 month. Now we're back on to 8 day. 8 day, end of day, EMA price. Yeah, okay, good. All right, I got a couple of other stocks to get into. UNH. I do like UNH. I really needed to break above that level of resistance at 305.36. All right, let it get, it did break above. I needed to break above the current high. Like RT, I like everything about it. UNH, let's just buy it higher than the high. All right, let's just buy it at the high. All right, and you see that Gene said, good job, Joey. Joey picked out some good sounds. Woo! Sting. Do I have something for Sting? Here we go. That was the radio the other day. Be careful with Sting. I ain't feeling Sting. RT below 1. Stocks in a downtrend. Earnings don't look so good. Stocks big down day today in on the stocks price. Look at the downtrend. I do that one more time. That's what's going on with Sting. I probably wouldn't take it. I wouldn't take that right now. All right. If you're trading it, you shouldn't be. Let's go look at the 20-day on it. Yeah, I wouldn't be in it. Now, and I see that the stock's price went above the 20, and look how quickly it went back below. Look how quickly it went back below. It went above the 20, look how quickly it went back below. I got more of a bearish bias on STNG than not. All right? I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that. And last but not least, NVAX, another drug, biomedical. I'm looking at the 20-day. See how high up it is above the 20-day right here? Watch this. Let's add the 8. Man, the 8, the 8 would get me out before the 20-day. So when I see a stock this high above the 20-day, then I add, and you know something? Let's make it a little simpler. I'm going to put a 10-day exponential. I'm going to put a 10-day exponential. Whatever feels comfortable for you. But when stock's price pulls that far away from the 20-day exponential moving average, you want to use a smaller moving average to capture your profits a little bit more. All right, so real quick. Oh my gosh, Joey, can I do this? I know. Real quick. I know, Joey. Joey, you going to yell at me? No, he's not. Don't leave. Joey's going to leave me. ALXN. Don't be doing this. These are stocks that I saw. Do not type any new stocks. This is going to be it. Huh? You need a haircut. Don't put any new stocks. No. Don't do it. All right. And this is just because I've been away a couple of days. Raw Stores, channel. I needed to break above that level of 167. Not ready to touch that. All right, when do you use stochastic oscillator? Good question, Cristiano. When a stock's in a channel like this, I would then add a parameter like stochastics. Go to technical analysis. All right, and then I can tell when the stock is overbought or oversold. Right now, Ross is oversold, and it's at resistance. If I own it, I probably want to get out of it. All right, stocks in oversold territory, in overbought territory, and at resistance, boom. I seriously think about taking my profits on it. When a stock is in a channel, I would use stochastics or RSI. And right now it's telling me it's a good time to take my profits on Ross. I do like the rising RT, all right? But I probably would take it because the stock's overbought. All right, let's take off stochastics. Let's go to the next stock. ERI, I do like Eldorado. Oh, this is a Vegas stock. I'm just telling you, watch it. RT looks good. Earnings don't, because that makes sense that Vegas stocks got hit. I like the move. I do like the move. Take off the 10. Right now, it's way above, and what's it going to do? It's way above the 20-day. What's it going to do? It's probably going to regress to the mean a little bit. But I do like coming off the low, slowly but surely moving higher. Nice jump up in the last week and a half or so, but starting to slow down a little bit. If you're in it, leave it alone. Because it's this far above the 20-day exponential, I throw on the 8 or the 10. I would use that to manage the trade. I would definitely use it to manage the trade. And I am Charles, thank you. All right, next stock, ALXM. I love the breakout above that level of resistance at 111.83. Now I want follow through. I got breakout, now I'll get follow through. I love it. That's probably in the space for coronavirus. Love that the stock's price went up today on good volume. S&P just tested its support and shot back up. There it is. The market has got more of a bullish feel right now, a shock. All right. I do like ALXM. I love the gap up and break up above that level. It was in the channel. It broke out of the channel. I like that. All right. Next one, WAB. Watch. This stock broke through a level of resistance here, pulling back down. Going to test this level of 60.35 as a level of support. I do like that it's above the 10. In this case, I have the 10. RT is above the value of 1, so the stock's in an uptrend, but it's pulling back a little bit. Watch earnings. Really would like to see, as the stock's price going up, I really like to see rising volume with it. Right now, I just leave it alone. If I own it, leave it alone. If I don't own it, I'm not ready to jump into it yet. Next stock, T-Mobile. I'm part of T-Mobile now because they bought Sprint. All right, so I'm in T-Mobile. Like the bounce off support. Look at that. Went above the 20-day, now approaching that level of the high. If I don't own it yet, I'd probably wait for confirmation of breaking above resistance. If I'm in it right now and I've been holding it, leave it alone. Leave it alone. Love RT is rising. Earnings don't look so good. Volume is pretty steady at about 5 million shares for the most part. This may not be a bad trade. If I'm not in it, though, I want break above that level of resistance. If I do own it, leave it alone. And last stock, love this beautiful looking equity curve. You can't beat that with a baseball bat. So that's an applause for that one. Definitely. You know something? This is like the airplane taking off. I love that move up. Look at that steady. Let's go draw a hand. Look at that. That's a beautiful upward trending stock. I like that stock. Who gave me that? Who gave me CN? That's a good looking equity curve. That is a good looking equity curve. Like that. All right, with that, I'm done. So I did look at a couple of other stocks that you wanted me to look at. All right. This is why I'm not going to look at any other one. I looked at it more than enough. I'm over my time by half an hour and then some. All right, folks, with that, I'm done. Joey, put me on this screen. All right. For those people who are here for the first time, thank you for being here. Give you an applause as well. For those, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, look down below. Look down below the page and hit this subscribe button. If it's red, click on it. If it's gray, don't click on it again. All right. You said nothing on KGC. Did I not look at KGC? Was that not one of the stocks I looked at? I did look at KGC. Did I not? KGC. And if I looked at this, I'm going to be mad at you because that means you wasn't paying attention. Yeah, I'm not ready to touch KGC. It's below. I'll put that on the 20. It's still below the 20-day. Gold is pulling back a little bit. What makes gold go up? A weak dollar. Our dollar is not so weak compared to everybody else globally. Be careful with gold. Stimulus came in, gold ran, but be careful with it right now. It's below the 20-day. I do like the earnings per share, but I don't like the RT. It's still above 1, but pulling back. Ken Ross Gold was rocking and rolling. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Ken Ross was rocking and rolling, but it's below the 20-day right now. If you own Ken Ross, you want to think about taking some off the table. Do not give it all back. Do not give it all back. By the way, do not give it all back, because if you do, that's what's going to happen to you with gold. All right, don't let gold knock you out. You know, because mama said knock you out. Gold's going to knock you out. All right, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. All right, well, I'm done. All right, so I had a lot of fun with the sounds today. Thank you, Joey.
No problem.
Fist pump. Joey gave us some great sounds to pay attention today. For those of you who are new, folks, we want you to come back. If you like what we saw today, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Let's like this. Come on, like this. This is, I love doing this. Joey comes in just for me to do this. I love doing this. Show me that you like the content. Subscribe. All right. And everybody telling me to stay well. Thank you very much on that. KGC last week was a buy above 1.5. Last week bought above 740. Right now, you just see what KGC looks like right now. All right, and that's the big thing. Update is knowing when to sell, knowing when to get out. Update, then it pulled way back. So all I'm telling you is just watch it. On that KGC trade, I talked about it as one of the stories in Trending Thursdays a few weeks ago, about 2-3 weeks ago. It was a big move. Well, maybe the move is over. You're looking at it right now. If you own it, you probably want to, don't be afraid to take your profit. You can't go broke taking a profit. All right, you can't go broke taking a profit. What did Roger say? Did Roger say something, Trisha? I missed it.
The guy that didn't like the sounds.
He didn't like the sounds? Oh, that's all right. I like the sounds. I think Joey did a great thing with the sounds. I think we're going to do more sounds. For everybody who's given me the well wishes, thank you very much for that. I'm working on it. I'm trying to do the right things and eat and take all my meds and all that kind of stuff. Let me tell you something, man. There's a lot that goes on in my mind. I do a lot of presentations, but I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. So my wife wants me to do better with my health as well, and I will. Daniel says, thank you. Sounds are great. There you go. All right, how many likes do we have today, Joey?
157.
157. Well, that's good number of likes. Did we pick up any new subscribers? Can you tell that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, folks, if nothing else, if you like what you saw today, subscribe. I'm trying to grow this. You guys are growing us tremendously. I want to keep it going. Is that number correct? Okay. Lower? Okay. Help this YouTube footprint grow. Help this YouTube. There you go. Thank you, Hab. Hab says, I subscribed new. All right, so thank you guys. And it looks like for the most part, you guys are liking the sound. So before I leave, got to put this. I love this. I love that. That's as close to a ooh-wee as we're going to get us a ooh-wee, right? Joey's going to get me an ooh-wee. Mike says, check out the sounds from computer. B cash register sounded like mousetrap. We're working on it. This is the first time we got an opportunity to use the sounds. All right. The cash sound, which one was that one? That one. There's my cash sound. All right. Hopefully you guys get an opportunity to make some of this. Let me hit that a couple of times. I want you guys to make some money. All right. So with that, folks, you guys have a great day. Adios, arrivederci, ciao, au revoir, sayonara. Peace.